Sandman here. I have an Assa 600. That's the key that's the bidding. It's a 6-pin high security lock. This has all 6 gin drivers, or gin spools for the driver pins. It has 5 master wafers, so it still qualifies towards red belt, but it doesn't qualify towards red belt because it has an inactive sidebar. It has counter milling in all of the pin stacks except for pin stack number 3, which apparently is common for the 600 core, but this is not a red belt level lock because of that inactive sidebar. So I'm going to try to see if I can get this thing picked on camera. We're going to take it apart, look at that inactive sidebar, look at the gin spools and the counter milling, and then I'm going to, in a later video or just on my own, I'm going to do what's called grub screwing. So adding some grub screws to the top stack here, so that way I can individually remove all those pin stacks. Because if I remove the sidebar and I try to pick this for red without the inactive sidebar, and I turn it 90 degrees clockwise, these gin spools can get trapped in that milling that's on the plug, and then it'll just be bricked, it'll be seized, and I'll never be able to get it apart ever again. But if I grub it up here, then it's possible. So let's go ahead and see if we can get this thing picked on camera, take it apart, talk about it. This will also be a nice introduction into some float picking. I'm going to take a top of keyway pry bar there. Let me zoom out a bit. Okay, I guess I can't zoom out. I'm going to take a top of keyway pry bar there and a double-ended pry bar there, and then I'm going to add a rubber band, so that way it holds them together. And this will allow me to go clockwise and counterclockwise to get out of that counter milling there. Let's go ahead and see what we can do with this. I'm going to try to set the pins in the back first. Just trying to get into false sets. Like that. That's a nice deep false set. And then I'm going to touch this top bar when I want to get out of that false set. So the deepest I can go, or the deeper I can go with these false sets, the better. And then I'm going to do some jiggle testing. So I'm going to put my pick on a pin and see if I wiggle it, see if that plug moves. And if it does, that means that pin is trapped. Yeah, like this one, pin number 2. So let me wiggle that. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use a monkey paw or a lifter pick here. See if I can get on pin number 2. All right, I'm going to wiggle that pin number 2, and I don't know if you can see. Oh yeah, you see how much wiggling there was? There we go. I'm out of that false set there with that pin number 2. So I was trying to wiggle it, and it actually moved the whole darn plug. So I'm on pin number 3, wiggling it, nothing. Pin number 4, wiggling it, nothing. Pin number 5, yeah, a little bit of movement. Let's go past it. And pin number 6, a little bit of movement in there. Let's see what that does. Oh, I dropped something. Let's see what I dropped. I think that was number 3. All right, let's go back through. Let's see if we can check pin number 1. Yeah, pin number 1 is definitely wiggling the plug. Do you see there's movement there? So let's give that a try. I dropped several pins, 2 pins, just in the process of setting pin number 1. Let's check and see which one it was. So pin number 2 just moved. I just set pin number 2. Let's go to pin number 3. Pin number 3 feels set. Pin number 4 is moving. So let's try 4. Nope. Okay, that was number 2. Let's go back to number 1. Yep, number 1. Okay, 1 and 2 are set. That was number 3. On 4 again. Let's go to 5. Let's So 6. Oh, we got an open. All right. All right, here we go. So that wasn't too bad. Unfortunately, it doesn't count towards my red belt. Let's go ahead and gut this thing, and then I can go through the process off camera of trying to make this a lock that qualifies for red. I have so much limited space up here that I have to juggle things. Let's take this apart. See if I can get this guy in. This has that sidebar, so I gotta grab that so it doesn't come out. Okay. So here's that sidebar there. Now it's inactive because the sidebar is actually not interacting with anything on the key. So it's really just kind of holding tolerance, but it actually makes it easier to pick from my understanding. There's that pin stack there. So let's remove the sidebar. So it's just a round sidebar. No cuts or any type of milling or anything on the sidebar to interact with anything from the key. This is that cutout. If I pick this lock without the sidebar, it may qualify for red, but if I rotate it in the wrong direction, those gin spools are gonna fall into this trap and I'll never be able to get it open again. So I will have to make it to where I can remove the gin spools from the top of the lock in case that happens. Now there's 2 springs in here, here and here. I'm gonna go ahead and take those out so I don't lose them. I hope they can classify this belt as either a blue or a purple belt or a brown belt, because if this is a belt that I can, or a lock that I can buy, you know, it's a factory lock, I haven't tampered with it, then it's going to be a lock that somebody else is going to come across. Hopefully they can get a belt for this, a classification. Start with pin stack number 1 here, just dump that out. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5. And number 6. Let's put this here for now. So the oil in this lock has these wafer pins sticking together, which is fine. I'll just keep them together. I say oil, it's some type of lubricant. It's a wafer lock as well. Or a wafer pin, rather. Sorry, wafer lock, completely different. All right, let's go ahead and gut this thing. Hope that's coming in and not blurry. Let's turn on our torch here. Isn't that nifty? Nobody makes this anymore. The guy that was making this is no longer in business, so maybe somebody else will make it. So don't ask. Sandman, where'd you get that? Nobody makes it. gin spool number 1. Gin spool number 2. Gin spool number 3. Number 4. Number 5. And number 6. Got all springs in there. I'm just going to leave those in there. No, I got to take them out because I got to take this lock apart anyways. So if you notice, this is the face of the lock. There's a channel right here that's been cut out for that sidebar pin, or the, excuse me, for the sidebar. And then, let me turn this off. We have the sidebar element, but it doesn't interact with the pins. If anything, it just kind of, I don't know, gives it better tolerances, I'm guessing. I think someone told me that they could make a bunch of these and that these could be universal for 600 and 6K, you know, cores that have sidebar active elements in them. So they could just make a bunch of these all the same and then just make some of these different depending on what type of key it is. But why on earth this thing has a sidebar in it but it doesn't interact with the key is beyond me. Maybe one of you can tell me down in the comments. Now let's zoom in and take a look at the countermilling here in this plug to catch those gin spools. So if I take gin spool number 1, it's going to catch. I could see that. How it catches that. So I have countermilling 1 and 2, nothing in 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, and then we have what look like some type of steel cores put in here to stop the drilling, anti-drill pins there and here and here and here. That way somebody doesn't drill through the sidebar, I suspect. That's awesome. It's still a great lock. It's still high security lock in my opinion. Let's take a look at these pins real quick. So that's what a gin spool is. That's it. Nothing else special to this lock. Thank you all so much for watching. I was really excited to get this thing picked, and I was really hoping to get my red belt, but it doesn't qualify, and that's okay. So the journey continues. I'm going to be taking this core and I'm going to be removing these plugs here. I'm going to drill into them, and I'm going to use a screw, and I'm going to pull these out instead of pushing them in, because if I try to push these all the way through, it's just going to widen those holes, the pin stacks. But instead, I'm going to pull them out, and then I'm going to put set screws in here, or in the community they call them grub screws, so that way I can fill up the pin stacks from the top, or in my particular instance, if I brick the lock, I can still disassemble it. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below if you happen to know why these things have a sidebar, if it's for better tolerances, if it's just for, you know, what is the purpose of having a sidebar if it doesn't interact with the key. I would love to know your opinion. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.